Hey there, Alex Navas here, and I wanted to drop you a quick little message. The topic of this message today is stop growing other people's business. Stop building somebody else's business. What do I mean by that? Are you actually going out there building somebody's business? You know, what I'm not talking about here is, are you an employee of somebody's business? Some people say, yeah, you're building somebody else's business. What I'm talking about here specifically is, are you trying to build your business? Hey, if you're watching live, by the way, just shoot me a quick message. But what I'm talking about here today is, are you growing somebody or building somebody else's business? In other words, have you taken somebody else's model? Have you taken somebody else's idea? Not that you're copying them, but their idea or their model and claimed it as your own. See, the problem is that you're trying to create somebody else's business and it's not built on your terms or what you want to see in your business. And so you're actually building what you see somebody else having. But you don't know the reason they chose that business model. You don't know the reason that they chose working with these specific businesses. Jody, great to see you here. You don't know the reasoning behind why they chose that as a business, why they chose that as an offer, why they chose that as an industry to serve. You don't know why they chose this business model or even this fulfillment model. In other words, they might be coaches, they might be consultants. You don't know why they chose what they chose, and yet you're trying to model them instead of building something that you actually want. So in the last couple conversations that I had with coaching clients, we were looking at the model, and so a lot of the conversations have been around, you know, Alex, I'm growing this agency, I'm growing this business, I'm growing this product business, this coaching business, but it's not really what I want. In fact, it actually drains me and not gives me life. And so I'm like, here's an exercise that I want you to do. And the reason I'm asking you to do this is because I had to do this as well. I had to do this in my own business. I had to peel away everybody's expectations. I had to peel away all the thoughts that I have of how it should be built, how I have to do these things, how I have to market, how I have to build this, how I have to structure my offers. I had to peel away all that stuff, all those expectations, all those ideals that other people have, and instead remove all that stuff and have a blank canvas and decide, what do I want this to look like for me? What do I want it to produce? And why do I want it to produce that? So it comes down to 4 different things. I've always thought until recently that it's really 3 things. And I'm still committed to those 3 things in your business. But there's one other thing that I really missed. If you're going to create a business that is built around the life you want, the people you want to have, it's these 4 ingredients. I'm going to tell you the 3 that I started with. And then lastly, the 4th that I added that is actually the missing piece. This is the missing ingredient. So number 1 is build a business that's going to have the impact that you want to make. So for many of us, we aren't doing business just for the money. We're doing business for a far greater thing. It's about the impact we can make. It's about serving people at a high level. It's about the transformation we want to see in the world. And so impact is really important to us. So does this business allow me to tap into the impact that I want to make in the world? So for many of you that know me, I'm all about building a business that supports the quality family life. There's this intersection, right? So the impact that I want to make through business is that I want people to have a phenomenal business, making money, but without having to compromise your family life. That's the impact I want to make. So impact is a key ingredient of you building this business as you want. Jody, I'm doing phenomenal. Thank you for asking. I'm doing phenomenal. It's been a day full of coaching, so it's been great. So impact. The other piece is influence. What area of society, what area of life, what area of business, what area of finances, what area of existence do I want to influence? So for me, I want to influence that family. And I want to influence entrepreneurs. But it got me to thinking. If I only made an impact, if I only influenced the area of business without the other piece, I lack fulfillment there. Because I know that for me, it's this overlapping of family and business. That's the influence that I wanna have in the world, right? And so influence has to play a part. If I was just a marriage counselor, but I didn't have a way to impact businesses, then I still wouldn't find fulfillment. Though it's a piece, it's not the holistic view. And so choose where you want to have the influence, right? So now we have just addressed the impact. Where do I want to make a difference? Where do I want to influence? Where do I want to have a name, or where do I want to have a word in the world? Where do I want to have an opinion? Where do I want to influence? Where do I want to have my thoughts make a difference? That is influence, right? But those two alone don't create an awesome business. Those two alone aren't going to give you what you're looking for. You need this other piece, which is called income, right? So if you create the income, the method of income, the method of you creating a financial resource out of this thing, then there's a lot of fulfillment there. Because you have the impact, that's the difference you want to make in the world. You have the influence, where I can make a difference, where I can place my stake in the ground and say, hey, I stand for these people. That is influence. And then when you combine it with the income potential, where you can align the three, then there's a lot of fulfillment there. There's a lot of fulfillment there. Now, somebody else building a similar thing that as you're building, they might not have the same motivation for the impact. They might not have the same thing that drives them for the influence. And so you're trying to model them in order to create this business, to have this income component, but you don't know what's driving them. You don't know what they're looking to build in the long term. You don't know why they're doing what they're doing, what drives them. But what you're trying to build is the outward expression of the influence and income engine. Or the influence and impact engine, right? You don't know what goes beyond that. All you're looking for is the income. And you say, hey, they're doing this kind of coaching. They're doing this kind of offer, so I'm going to do that as well. But what you don't know is what's driving the influence, what's driving the impact for them. And so we're always going to build this thing, and it's not even aligned to us because we're trying to build somebody else's business, not knowing what's driving them to do it in the first place, right? Maybe they don't have kids, or maybe they have 3 kids or 7 kids. Maybe it's not even about a family altogether. Maybe they experience something in their life and they want to make sure that nobody else experiences that before. Well, we may not share that experience. So the why is totally different, yet we're trying to build something that we don't fully understand, right? But when you get into your income, when you get into your impact, and when you get into your influence, then it's unique to you, and then it drives you to build what you're here to do, right? But there's one key ingredient. Carol, yeah, influence, impact, income, absolutely. One key ingredient that I did not stumble upon, I think I did, but I didn't really claim it. I didn't really internalize that this is a driving force to all 3. And without this one piece, you could create a successful business, but it is not what you really want. You could create something that is, by all accounts, it looks successful, and yet it's still far from what you really want. And it's this one piece. It's this 4th eye that I've kind of come across and become aware of, actually. And it's this. It's identity. It's identity. Because identity is who you are, not who you think you are. So a lot of us are building something because of who we think we are, and yet we're not tapping into our true identity of who we actually are. And so there's a gap there. So for example, one of my businesses in the past was a digital marketing agency, right? Digital marketing agency, we were serving great clients. We were helping them build award-winning marketing campaigns, beautiful websites, phenomenal lead campaigns, phenomenal social media campaigns, all this stuff, right? So by all accounts, somebody would look at Alex and say, hey, Alex, you have this agency, you must be successful. I want to build that. What they didn't know on the back end is there was a gap between my identity and what I had built. Why? Because I was looking to build this agency based on somebody else's model, not knowing their identity, not knowing what their impact is, not knowing what their influence is, right? So I built this thing, and what people would see is you're making a lot of money, you're helping a lot of clients, you're able to market and get people's attention, people would buy, all this stuff. So it looks all good. It looks all good. But internally, I was miserable. Internally, I was frustrated. Internally, I was spent. Right? So here I was building this business based on somebody else's model, made it my own, but it was not aligned to my identity. So while I was doing good things, it wasn't the great things. You see, every time I was building a new campaign for somebody, it was me behind a computer, building an actual website, building a campaign, building their email sequences, building their ads, all that good stuff. That was a moment, that was time that I wasn't spending working with somebody one-on-one, helping them break through, helping them remove the limitations, helping them really see themselves in a way they wouldn't see themselves. But that is my identity. I'm a people builder. So while I was building a campaign and building what from the outside looked like something that was successful, it was not really fulfilling to me because it was apart from my identity. My identity is one of a builder of people, but I wasn't building people. I was building campaigns. I was building marketing. And that wasn't full fulfillment, right? And so I had been building something to the point where people could say it's successful, but it wasn't successful to me because I had not fully identified who I was as an individual. What was my identity? And I can build all this stuff. Was the impact there? Yes. Was the influence there? Yes. Was the income there? Yes. But the identity piece was lacking. And so here I was building this thing that didn't give me the fulfillment because I didn't build in my identity there. I wasn't making the difference. I wasn't pouring into people. I wasn't coaching people. I wasn't advising, mentoring people. But if I knew myself and my identity, I am a mentor. I am somebody that will come alongside you to help you build something. And that was a missing piece. And no matter of income, no amount of influence, no amount of impact can compensate for the lack of identity. But when you get that right, when you get the identity right, what does this actually look like? Where do I fit into this? How does this support who I am? And then I start building the other pieces around that. Suddenly the fulfillment is there. Suddenly the fulfillment. Why? Because I am finally expressing who I am, what I'm here to do. Why? Because of me first. Because of understanding who I am as a person, understanding the causes I stand for, understanding who I'm here to serve, understanding why I'm here to serve them. Then I can finally build out this business that gives me the impact that is tied to my identity, the influence that is tied to my identity, and the income channels that are tied to my identity. But if I'm missing that identity piece, I'm building somebody else's business, not knowing why. Not recognizing that it's not even what I really want. Or because I haven't taken the time to build that identity, I'm going to miss it 100% of the time. Does that make sense, guys? See, Carol says that's what it's all about. Absolutely. Alex adores alliteration. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's all over my stuff. It's all over my coaching program. It's all over my teaching, my training. Absolutely. Because it's a simple thing to wrap your head around, right? Because I don't want to just give information, but I want to instill transformation. The best way to do that is by sharing concepts that are easy to capture, easy to chew, and actually then put into action, right? So anyway, it's not just about influence. It's not just about impact. It's not just about income. But if you are going to create a business that can scale, that is sustainable, that is something that you truly desire, it's got to have that missing piece, which is identity. Identity is the foundation to everything else. Because you could build all the other stuff, and it's parted away from your identity, and it's not going to stand. Because you're always looking for a missing piece. But when you start with identity, there's nothing missing. Because it starts with the wholeness of who you are, what you've come through, and what you want to see in the world. That is what informs those other three pieces. So anyway, here it is. It's identity, influence, impact. Then the income comes. When you have those in alignment, you're unstoppable. And so here's the task that I want you to do, is take some time with yourself. Have a date with yourself. Go to have a coffee with yourself. And really start drawing out these things. What do I stand for? Who do I want to serve? Why do I want to serve them? And who am I in the person? As a person, right? When we get there, now we have the key ingredients to inform the other pieces, the influence, the income, the impact. But it starts with identity. And identity isn't who you think you are, it's who you actually are, right? We get better all the time, but it's not who you think you are. Most of us have a far lower assessment of who we are than who we actually are. So we're actually here, and the world sees us here, and for those who are spiritual, God sees you even up here, right? But here's where the standard is, but here's how we see ourselves. So give yourself some time to really upgrade how you see yourself to what the truth is. Because you have a library, you see my bookshelf here, we have all this evidence of who we are, and yet we treat ourselves like this evidence doesn't exist. But if we look at the way we transform people's lives, the way that we give, the way that we live, the way people see us, that's going to inform us that this is who we are and it's not who we think we are. Get aligned to this, the other pieces will be much easier to put in place. So anyway, just a quick little training here for you on you stop building somebody else's business and really build one that's aligned to you. And the only way you're going to do that is by taking full assessment of who you are. In other words, your identity. That's all I got for you guys. I hope this was encouraging for you. And stay tuned because I got more on this very topic. Take care.